Adam Gray is live right now.
Adam Gray is like, although he doesn't feel it. I must be.
You don't feel it?
Oh no, I'm exhausted. It's been a hard week. Been a good week.
Hard week.
But it's been a lot of stuff going on this week, hasn't there?
Absolutely. Chuck in almost 40 degrees.
Yeah. Well, in fact, over 40 degrees down here. Hottest temperature ever recorded in the UK, not far from me. 40.2.
Yeah, that's right. Going, I think 38.7 was the highest ever before back in 2000 and something. But blown all the records. My goodness me, it's been incredible. Hi, Chris.
Good afternoon, Chris.
Ross Lewin. Good to have you with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Finally back. Well, you might hang around, you might not, because this one's a fence sitter, perhaps.
It's
all the crew are coming in.
There'll be some blushes in the audience and on the panel today. Right?
Exactly. I was writing my notes and I was going, can't say that. Can't say that. Can't say that. Can't say that. Hi, Andy. Look, all the musos are coming in.
Yeah. So it'd be really interesting to hear what people think about this, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. And so, in the spirit of this show, if anyone's listening who hasn't said hello yet, please do say hello. Let us know that you're there and where you're from. This is our weekly music show. Came about from a chat that Adam and I were having. We had regular chats on our Slack channel, tearing bits of music apart, and we said, you know what? Maybe people would like this if we did it every week and did it live. And we hi Simon, the lovely Simon Wells.
Yes. Song of the week.
Ping. And Gary as well. Fantastic. So yeah, we were chatting on our Slack channel, dissecting bits of music, talking about that instrument that used and why did they record it that way, and we thought we'll take that live, and we've been doing it now for about a year, right?
Yeah, getting on for a year.
How many shows is this? This is our
40th, I think, 39th, 40th.
Oh crikey! So the concept is that one of us picks an album each week for the other one to go away, and both of us go away and we listen to it, and then we alternate the next week.
Yeah. In isolation. So we've not discussed this at all.
We don't discuss it at all, and Adam and I meet each other throughout the week, and we don't give it away. So we've had some barnstorming hits. welcome, Andrew. Welcome. It all started with the Beatles, and then I was into the Stones, and then I got into Queen, and it just started to take over my life. But she's in it, yeah, absolutely, and yeah, we I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Madonna either, but she's there, she's in our lives, and she made some excellent music along the way. So 2 weeks ago, Adam wrecked the show by suggesting that we do Led Zeppelin 4. And we both absolutely loved that. Sometimes we disagree, which is fine. Sometimes we completely agree. Sometimes we're kind of on the fence. Something that we thought was good actually wasn't so good when we revisited it. Maybe something from the 90s or something. So I decided not to compete with Led Zeppelin 4 and actually just review an album that might be review worthy.
Yeah.
So this week I suggested Madonna Erotica, and we've been away listening to this. So as is our form, my 12-step program. Exactly.
More about music,
yeah. So we've gone away and immersed. It's a proper immersion. We go away and we dissect and we take notes and all of that, and we find out about how it was recorded, what was going on at the time, and we get right under the skin of it. So, as is our form, has this been a good week musically for you? With one of them, or has it been or is it kind of like don't know?
Okay, so I guess to give it a bit of build-up, I am actually quite a big Madonna fan. I've always loved her. I've loved her ability to reinvent herself, her ability to push boundaries, her ability to remain relevant. That's a good point. But we don't sleep. Her ability to remain relevant, and she's a limitless pit of creativity. She never ever runs dry. But what I would say is that so this is a shock album, isn't it? You know, it's about women enjoying sex as well as men enjoying sex, and women being okay to be the sexual predator. And obviously, we'll talk about the book in a minute, I'm sure. So for me, this lacks the rawness of her early stuff. So first album, Madonna had Lucky Star, Borderline, Holiday. The next album, Like a Virgin, had Material Girl and Like a Virgin. Then True Blue had
Classics.
Papa Don't Preach, La Isla Bonita. Then Like a Prayer had Like a Prayer, Express Yourself, Cherish, Dear Jessie, Pray for Spanish Eyes.
Oh,
then there's this.
yep.
And Bedtime Stories.
Which is a concept album, right?
Yeah, and Bedtime Stories.
Fifth album.
And I think that for both this and Bedside Stories, she had lost her way a little bit. And then after this, we had the sophisticated albums. We had Ray of Light with Drowned World, Ray of Light, Nothing Really Matters, Shanty, The Power of Goodbye. And then we had music with Music, Runaway Lover, I Deserve It, Don't Tell Me More, Gone. You know, so great albums after, great albums before. But this I found to be a bit of a desert. So it's a good album. And 92 was a good time for me. And it's very much got that club scene sound to it, which I like.
That
because it makes me think
swing.
about, and it makes me think about all the things that I was doing then. I just started my first business, and actually one of our clients owned the Hanover Grand nightclub, and so we were kind of VIPing it up there, and that was really lovely. But yeah, so it is a, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not a whoa kind of thing.
I know what you mean. I know
It's
exactly what you mean. And there are. I mean, we're not going to stop doing this show, so it's not about, well, we should have done the best one.
No, absolutely.
You know, we should.
And we may well do another one at some point.
Yeah, totally. And we might go and do the best one, but I agree that. So lost their way. There is a school of thought, because I did some deep reading about this. So there's people that are like, oh, this is just, you know, the single that she released prior to this was Vogue, right? Upbeat. It was proper Madonna.
But was that Vogue from Immaculate Collection? So the one with the bass line that crops up on this.
Correct.
Right. That is one of her top songs.
Agreed, right? So everyone knows her for being this sort of like pop pioneer, the queen of pop at the time she was being called, and all of that, reinventing herself. And then all of a sudden she puts out this very dark, I mean, she introduces an alter ego. So lots of people are Mistress Dita, who talks to us in a very deep voice a lot, who's a sort of dominatrix type, inspired by Dita Parlow. It takes on all of this confession stuff. So she thinks, right, okay, I've been quite sort of veneer-like in the way I make a pop song and I put it out. I'm actually going to open up the doors and I'm going to let you see inside my kind of dark fantasy creative mind, influenced heavily by the loss of two close friends to AIDS. So she takes AIDS on as well. I imagine she was probably feeling pretty low. Who knows what she was involved in her personal life. By now, a global megastar, right? By now, 1992, she's a global megastar. So she takes on
Sean Penn by this point.
Yeah, which was always a bit weird and a bit sort of fractious, the relationship. She hooks up with I mean, this is actually worth it alone. She hooks up with Shep Pettibone, the producer and remixer. If you ever take the time to go onto Shep Pettibone's Wikipedia site and look at the artists that he's worked with, it is absolutely breathtakingly phenomenal. The list is, I mean, it's an A to T, because the final one that he worked with, through Prince, through stacks with Madonna, 5-star, George Michael, I don't have time, Janet Jackson, it goes on, Daryl Hall, Beyonce, the Pet Shop Boys probably said that, the B-52s. He is a megastar. Shep Pettibone, who knew, right? That was a learning for me. This guy is everywhere, particularly around that time, that sort of 89 to 96 kind of zone. He is on everyone's album. ABBA, Africa Bambaataa, everyone. Paul McCartney, just Paula Abdul, goes on and on and on, right? So she hooks up with Shep Pettibone, got an idea for this kind of concept. Why don't we go into the studio and give it a go? And what develops is a heavily stylized, very confessional, some would say too confessional. Yeah, too confessional. Accompanied by this bedtime stories book that had the world going, oh, I feel as if I know Madonna a hell of a lot more now after
reading that. So do you know what film came out this year? So just as you were talking about that, I thought, do you know what this really smacks of?
What are you thinking? I don't know.
Film basically about sexual obsession.
No, I don't know what one you mean. Is it
Basic Instinct?
Basic Instinct? Oh, sorry, I thought you meant this. So it came out
92.
Ah, you're
So
joking. Did you just find that out?
Yeah, I just Googled it now. So I guess the point is that this is very much of the moment, isn't it?
Very much of the moment.
Very much sex, and not normal sex.
Or mainstream. It's kind of like
was becoming much more. Actually, stuff that had been kept very much in the closet was now much more mainstream, wasn't it?
Yep, AIDS, and the subject of AIDS and HIV was in all the newspapers. It was in all the magazines. It was in all the news and TV channels. So that whole, and of course there was a link, or there was a linking to sexuality. So yeah, there's things happening around this time. She began creating the demos with Pettibone in his apartment in 1991. He was a remixer. That was his thing. So he brings remix to this, and you get that remix vibe. They built this whole album around a musical style. The beat is known as New Jack City, which was, when you hear it, you'll just see Janet Jackson and Paula Abdul jumping around to it, doing the Running Man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Adam's doing the Running Man now, by the way, under the desk, doing it.
Yeah, it's a bit like Riverdance, really, isn't it?
It's a bit like Riverdance.
The top is exactly still, and the feet are going crazy.
It generally got a decade of voyeurism. Voyeurism was ushered in with this. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's profound. Who are you, LinkedIn user? Unfortunately, we can't see who you are.
The next year, the film Philadelphia came out, and I guess that that other film with Alec Baldwin, where he had all the video cameras in the apartment.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Alec Baldwin; it was William Baldwin, his brother. Yeah, but he had all the cameras. Yeah. That was creepy, very creepy. So yeah, it's very much of the moment musically, very much of the moment with what's in the news. It got generally favourable reviews from critics who regarded it as one of our more adventurous albums. She got praise and criticism negatively for tackling the taboos of AIDS and all of that. It was less successful than previous albums. It only got to number 2 on the Billboard charts for a short period of time, becoming her first studio album not to top the charts since her debut, since coming on the scene. The first album that didn't top the charts. But internationally, it was huge. Austria, Finland, France.
Yeah, it's worth also remembering that Madonna has kind of always been there. So this was her 5th studio. So this is quite a young album in many ways. And all of the stuff that came before this. So, this was in 92. She did an album in 83, 84, 86, 89, and 90, if you count Dick Tracy. And she always seemed incredibly young then. But by this point, she's already 34.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which actually is quite old for such a young kind of album, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so. So it's a concept album. We're going to listen to it. It's about sex and romance. She brings in Mistress Dita, and lots of people thought that was a bit contrived. Whenever any artist that's big brings in I remember Bono did it, and everybody was like, shut up, just sing "In the Name of Love." Stop. We don't want to meet your alter ego. So she brings in Mistress Dita, inspired by actress Dita Parlow. It mixes dance, electronica, hip hop, deep house, New Jack City, ambient techno, and a bit of R&B. And it heavily plays on innuendo and triple, quadruple innuendo and double entendres like you've never heard in your life, right?
Yeah, I was blushing. I was blushing when I was listening to this by myself in the car.
Imagine you pulled up at a bus stop and you're sitting listening to that, and people are like, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" We got. I think, what did we get? Let me see. We got 6 singles off this album.
Yeah,
something like that. We got Erotica, we got Fever, we got Deeper and Deeper, we got Rain, and yeah, they all did.
Are we going to talk about the book now, or are we going to talk about the book later?
You can talk about the book. I know you want to talk about the book.
Well, it was just, I mean, I remember that at the time, because now, obviously, we have the internet, so porn is everywhere if you want it to be. At the time, there was Penthouse and Playboy in the newsagents, but that was about it. And then a guy that I worked with, young guy that I worked with, bought a copy of this book, and I remember he had it delivered to work, and it came in a silver envelope, and he was like, "You know what this is?" No, he said, "It's Madonna's book," and I was like, What book? He said, have you not heard about it? No. So he opened it, and it was, aluminium front and back cover, wire bound. And he opened it up, and it was, I mean, honestly, you just went, oh.
Because you could hear the army of HR people running towards you across the halls.
Yeah. It was absolutely, absolutely. It was shocking because she wasn't a porn actress.
Correct.
She was a pop megastar who, let's be honest, wasn't like she was going anywhere. So this was not something she needed to do to revitalize a failing. She'd had 5 hit albums.
Absolutely massive. Everyone going to number 1. Stephen Thomas of AllMusic described it as ambitious and noted that it contained some of her best and most accomplished music. Paul Werner from Billboard said, consider our most varied and creatively challenging collection to date, as well as bottomless with potential hit singles. Aaron Berger said, it's cold and remote. I can't get with this. It's meticulous and calculated and seems artificial. So it kind of split the crowd, but I think that's what she wanted to do. She was at a point in her life where she could do that and went for it. Shall we start with the opening track, which is
Mr. DJ.
Go Mr. DJ. So keeping in mind that the previous single to this was Vogue, so everyone's like, "Ooh, a new Madonna single! This will be great!" And all of a sudden, we are in a different world, a very different world. My name is Dita. Do what I say. It's got a bit of a quiet start, but it does come through.
This is very much a bit left field, isn't it, in terms of field. So just playing that, and it's funny, isn't it? Because I've listened to this almost to the exclusion of everything else this week, and still, you just put it on, and I'm hearing stuff for the first time. So, what other band artist does that opening make you think of, other than Left Field, when she starts to sing? And it came out the previous year.
Massive Attack?
No, close.
No.
Enigma.
I've got Enigma in my notes for later. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay. Sorry.
Totally. That whole that New Jack Swing beat with softly spoken lyrics over the top and kind of ethereal sound. Yeah, very Enigma.
And obviously, Enigma opened the floodgates to this because the lyrics for Enigma were all spoken from the Marquis de Sade, weren't they?
Yeah. Totally. So again, a year before, we're into that solidity kind of thing. For me, this sounds like the opening. Like if you went to see a burlesque show, this would appear when the spotlights go on the stage as the act walks
Dieter
on.
von Teese walks out. This is what we'll be playing. Yeah,
exactly. It's a thumping start, deep and dark. Talks about some pretty hefty subjects, and it's quite dark. It's like listening to a naughty song in front of your dad.
That's exactly what it's like.
Exactly. So she sets the tone. This is going to be dark and steamy. And already we've met Mistress Dita. It's Massive Attack. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Then we're into track 2, which is a cover of a song that
was covered by everybody.
Everybody did it.
So I've got a list of who covered it. Well, the ones that I recognise from the list. So obviously Peggy Lee, Beyonce, Elvis, Helen Shapiro, James Brown, Brian Eno, Suzi Quattro, Bette Midler, Michael Bublé, Petula Clark, Grateful Dead, The Jam, and The Cramps all covered this, along with Madonna.
As well as the McCoys, La Lupe, and Beyonce, and Christina Aguilera, maybe you said her. But the best-known edition of this, or version of this, is Peggy Lee's from 1958, right? Absolutely. Although it was written in 56 by Eddie Cooley and Otis Blackwell, but this is Fever. I have to say, if you were a 90s music person, as we both were, there's a lot of comfort in that in this style of music, isn't there? This is safe.
I mean,
it's like
you could absolutely see yourself, sitting in the VIP section, roped off with a glass of champagne, couldn't you? To this.
Well, I was looking in. I was just wondering how you get in.
I'm thinking, who's that tall Scottish bloke over there? Security, take him out.
Do you know who I am? Do you know who
With a Guinness in each hand.
I have cut a few shapes in my life on dance floors in the 90s to music exactly like this. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. As far as a cover goes, I quite like it. I'm not a huge cover guy, but I quite like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's,
pretty good.
It's good. And one of the things about her is that her stuff is just so on point always. There's no point in any of her stuff when you think to yourself, yeah, that was a bit off. I could have done that. Yeah, everything is polished and that's why she's so successful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The most successful female artist of all time, and the most successful solo artist of all time.
Of all time. Did you have a crush on Madonna?
I mean, clearly she was a very sexy woman, but to be honest, I found her a little bit intimidating.
Oh, I was just glued to the screen from the first moment I saw her with the black bangles, sitting smoking, and I can't remember what video it was. I think if anyone's out there, I think the one with Desperately Seeking Susan, the first single from that.
Right.
The one where she had the little black T-shirt with the net over the top of it and the leg warmers. I was like, I would like to marry her. And pretty much did right up through all of her changes of image, through all the kind of 50s stuff that she went through, right through to when she did Like a Prayer with the brown hair and all that. I've pretty much, I'm not so much of a fan nowadays of the look.
What, of the look then or the look now?
No, the look she's got now.
Yeah, she hasn't. I mean, let's be honest, she's lived life to the full, hasn't she?
My goodness.
She's not worn perhaps as well as some.
Get into the groove. Oh my goodness. I might just go back and watch that video. I remember standing there watching that thinking,
coned bra.
Was it the cone bra? Yeah, all that stuff, that Jean-Paul Gaultier stuff was just amazing. But
I love Jean-Paul Gaultier. Fantastic.
Absolutely. So that's the second track, and then we're into Bye Bye Baby.
So this has very much. So one of my favorite Madonna songs is Dear Jessie. That lullaby kind of thing. I think it's just gorgeous, and it's so gentle. And this has the opening of this has shades of that in it. I think there's a gentleness to this that I love.
It's an okay little pop song of its era. I don't think it's a standout track on the album. I think it's just okay. I think it's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would go as far as to say I don't think there is any standout track on this album.
Oh, there are two. There are two crackers. Anyway, we'll get to them.
Educate me.
We see Mistress Dita turning up at the start of this one, just showing her face and saying, "This is not a love song" at the start of it. Which I think was actually used on a couple of other songs. U2 started the song by saying this is not a love song, didn't they?
Did they?
I'm pretty sure they did, yeah. We've never covered U2. Maybe we should steer ourselves towards U2 one week.
Achtung.
So that was Bye Bye Baby. Next track. If you don't like this track and think it's phenomenal, you don't like music.
Yeah, but this is Vogue, isn't it, really?
It is. It's wonderful.
That wasn't a criticism because I love Vogue. I think it's a great song. But this is very much out of that mold, isn't it?
Oh my God! Deeper. Track 4, I think, is a standout track. She uses a little device a couple of times on this album, and I'm not so clued up on Madonna to know if she's used it so much in her life. But in 2 tracks on this album, in fact 3 tracks, she starts with the chorus. And that's quite unusual. I was thinking about it before we came on air. I was thinking, what's the only other song? This is not a love song. Yeah, and I think you 2 have done it too. So that's weird that she uses the same little link there. So the device she uses is a few times, 2 or 3 times on this album, is to start with the chorus. Now I was thinking, what track do I know that does that from another artist? The only one that I can think of is Help by the Beatles.
Do you know, it's funny you were saying that. I was just thinking exactly that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't think of another track by another pop artist that starts with the chorus. And she does it here. She does it here with Deeper and Deeper. Let's have another little listen. And it's a great chorus. Love this track. I would do some dance moves, but pulled my neck.
Yeah, I know. A shame.
I'm in the Tuxedo Princess down in the Quay in Glasgow. This track would be nothing without that bass line.
No, absolutely.
I don't know if it's a bass generator. Just listen again to when this bass kicks in. So the song started, right? And then we get a bit of drum and bass, but listen to what the bass does. No bass yet. Still quite flat, and then boom! If Sarah Doyle didn't have a sore back today, I know that there would be some shapes being thrown through the hall next to this, because this is I think this is a great song. I think it's beautifully crafted. It's brilliant pop, great dance music, just terrific, absolutely terrific.
And it's funny, isn't it, that this is going on at this period, and then later, so many, and we saw this with Led Zeppelin. And it's like, okay, this is point zero, isn't it? Where this is where it all starts, and lots of stuff. Kylie Minogue, her whole career is based on that, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, and many other artists.
Again, not a criticism. She's a fantastic performer and does great songs, but it's all come from here, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Maybe the origin point of every Girls Aloud, of every sort of girl band. Maybe what do you call them? Spice Girls.
Yeah.
All loved Madonna, right? All wanted to be Madonna. Hairbrush in the hand, singing away into the mirror. Doing the thing.
Plenty of guys wanted to be Madonna as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. So yeah, I love this track. It's absolutely excellent. But then she takes us back to Enigma. I mean, this is probably the most Enigma-like track.
Yeah. So obviously, Prince was not the Prince Black album, which you'd be familiar with. The one that didn't make it into the mainstream for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So Prince was not afraid of writing about sex, and there are some lyrics in this that are just you talk about
this is cringeworthy. I might not speak when we play. We'll just play the track. I don't have any words for this.
So
don't do it. Don't do it.
No, you're right. I've written out one of the verses from here, and it's just like
it's just yeah. Check it out yourself. Where life begins is a clue. A big clue.
So everybody just Google lyrics to Where Life
Begins.
And yes, indeed. In fact, we are.
Absolutely. I'm doing it with a burrito. I'm doing it with a flaming burrito. I don't know what. Yes, I think going by her first lines in the song, the opening lyrics, I think this is a song about restaurants.
I think you're probably right. Because what else could that possibly be?
What else could that possibly mean? So we'll just play this track, track number 5.
I like to direct your attention to something that needs directing to. A lot of people talk about dining in and eating out. I guess that's what this song is about.
So she's like TripAdvisor. She'd like to direct your attention to some nice restaurants that are in the local area. Helpful.
Yes.
Helpful. That's what I get from Madonna.
Yeah, absolutely.
Helpful.
So should we move on to the next song rather than
Yes, please.
because times are ticking. Yeah, no,
Times are
I mean that is. I mean, even though we're all grown ups, that is genuinely uncomfortable. I think.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you think it was maybe one of our least popular albums, maybe a lot of people put this on, and you know, it was funny. Sarah and I sat and listened to this the other night. We sat out in the garden. We had some nice barbecue, had some nice wine, and we sat and we listened to the whole thing. And she said, "Oh my word, the lyrics to this song." She said, "When I was a little girl listening to this," she said, "I never thought about any of that." She said, I used to sit and listen to it like yeah, yeah, she was like, "My goodness, it's just pure filth." So anyway, next track, Bad Girl.
And actually, I think what's really interesting is that and you know, I'm not a prude, but it is a bit unnecessary, isn't it? You know, it's
but I suppose it goes with this whole confessional thing.
She was trying to make a point, but
yeah,
probably quite a few actually.
Yeah, indeed. So in this next one, pure Madonna, great chorus, and I love the way in my notes I've put, I love the way she harmonizes with herself. This is a great track. It's called Bad Girl. Pure Madonna. I actually prefer Madonna's music at this pace, or even slower.
Yeah,
the lullabies.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean, but there is that upbeat Madonna, the pop princess bit that is just so appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, terrific. I just like it when she goes a bit slower, and she's got such a great. You hear her voice.
Yeah.
Oh. Great chorus. A standing joke in this house that Sarah's got quite a deep voice, and anyone who watched her recent appearance as Jo on our video might have heard that she has quite a deep voice. Like, we make a joke, I'll hear a baritone singing, I'm like, "That's your range, Sarah," and I get slapped or whatever. Sarah's favorite song to sing at karaoke, whatever karaoke is, Crazy. She can't get down to the depths that Madonna sings in this song, no matter how hard she tries.
Yeah,
Madonna is a good.
She spoke 20 Gaulois and half a bottle of Scotch. She would. I completely agree, Tiba. I love that album. So that and Ray of Light are so.
We'll bring them in at some point. We thought we would start at a low. This reminds me of this used to be my playground. It's in that kind of reflective kind of Madonna. I love it. I don't wanna feel blue. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, that harmonizing with herself is just lovely, isn't it?
It's
you know, you get to get that.
done.
Really delightful.
Terrific, and just the proper, you know, that's the sound of Madonna, isn't it? It really is. And then you get the pop and the dance and all of that too.
Yeah.
On the next track, Waiting, she brings back, I'm not sure about the need to do this personally, she brings back properly the Alter Ego, Mistress Dita. Yeah,
well,
whatever.
like you said, though, it's a concept album, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
it is.
it's part of a bigger story. And, whilst I know that you're not a big fan of War of the Worlds and Tommy and stuff like that, one of the things about them is that there's a coherence to the album. And there is to this as well, to a certain extent, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cracking observation. That whole True Blue versus Like a Virgin conversation at the start of Reservoir Dogs, that the gangsters are sitting there before they go in to plan their big heist. They're actually sitting arguing about Madonna albums and tracks and stuff. Fabulous, great. So yeah. But I do sometimes wonder. Do you watch MasterChef at all?
Sometimes.
So there's the kind of whenever they say, so when Greg Wallace says, so what dessert are you making? Whatever your name is, Babbles or whatever. And they go, I'm doing a chocolate fondant with a runny center. They, oh, it's dangerous. It's been done a million times and never works and all that. I wonder when the artist phones up their agent and says, I want to do a concept album. They go, oh God, oh no. But anyway, we're into Waiting now, track 7. She's almost rapping here.
So this is funky shit, Prodigy.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it is a really interesting rap, and that actually comes back later in the album, I think, as well.
Yeah. Has a place. I can actually see this being on the radio. We're driving through Miami in a white Corvette with the top down. This would work. Going for a couple of cocktails or something. Quite nice, but very much of its age. I see you with a full head of hair and the sleeves rolled up on your white suit, kind of Don Johnson thing going on there.
You would have done. That's exactly how I used to dress. I used to dress just like Don Johnson. I had a super dark pair of Wayfarers. The only thing missing was the cigarette boat and the convertible.
And the Testarossa. Yeah. She signed Prodigy to her Maverick label.
Right. Now it's all making sense, isn't it?
Now it's all making sense. Absolutely. Yeah. A little tug of the forelock there. And I think it was, just going back to check my notes, I think this was the first album that came off her Maverick new record label. So she had full artistic reign, and no record company was going to tell her what to do, kind of thing. So, and
I'm not sure that served her particularly well, actually.
Yeah, I agree. So that's Waiting. Then we're on to Thief of Hearts. I don't know why I've written this. So I've written that it weaves a very bubblegummy lyric into a great pop song. I don't know why I've got Prince. I got a Prince vibe from this.
Yeah, because their only collaboration was Justify My Love.
Yeah.
Which he wrote with or co-wrote with her, which I suspect he wrote it and she kind of sat next to him while he was writing it.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, obviously, although they had the very public spat after they broke up when they had a thing together, you can tell that she's been heavily influenced by his brilliance.
Very much so. Yeah. Yeah, first mover. Quite like it, and it's one of those things that I would never say.
Tapper, isn't it?
yeah, I would never say I'm going to put on Erotica today to listen to it all the way through. But if it was on, I wouldn't put it off. As a few people have said, I wouldn't put it off because it's a bit of a toe
It's
tapper.
all right. It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got in my notes. I love the Middle Eastern start of the next one. Words.
Yeah. Listen in the car. That's the answer.
Listening. Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Vogue.
Yeah.
Very Voguish, very Voguish. Now,
Yeah, I was trying to do a Vogue rap, you know, that Marilyn and Dietrich and DiMaggio. I think about Eric Doyle and
Brando,
Adam
Jimmy
Gray
Dean.
doing an album every day. You know,
what we're going to rhyme with bald and bespectacled. Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll work it up.
incredibly handsome and masculine.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't
put all
quite
these
rhyme, but
things
it's fine. It's good enough.
muscular and toned. Yeah, 6-packs. We'll have to 2-pack and 6-pack. We'll work it out. The next song, I'm just going to throw it out there. This is the reason why I chose this, because I listened to this song. Sarah will find me in here working away, listening to this song. I think I would chuck this in as one of my favorite pop songs of all time.
Okay.
I think this is, and again, it's one of those ones where she starts with the chorus. She does it again here. I love this song. I think this is a brilliant track, regardless of Erotica or anything else. Rain. I think it's epic.
The way the bass line moves, you can hear shades of what will be coming in later albums, can't you?
Totally, absolutely. The video is fantastic for this video.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a note here that this won the best art direction and best cinematography at the MTV Video Music Awards of this year.
Wow, crikey. Brilliant. Just indulge me a little bit in the chorus. Love it. I've got the drummer. We've got the drummer bassist. It's brilliant. I think this is gorgeous, this song. And it's funny because I wouldn't put myself down as a cracker of an album. Absolutely, Beth. It's got such. We've dissected it. Please go back and look at, if you love this album, go back and look at the start of this, because we've got over halfway now. We're in the last 3 songs or whatever. But for this track here, I wouldn't count myself. If you said, who's your favorite artist? And I'd probably be in the 20s or 30s, and I still hadn't said Madonna, right? Still haven't said it. But I listen to the song all the time. I think it's wonderful. I've got a couple of bands like that. For some reason, I don't know why. Do you know the B-52s?
Yep.
Not a huge fan.
No.
I listen to Rome twice a week. You know that Rome, if you want to. I'm a sucker for a double hand clap. Sucker for a double hand clap.
Yeah, there's a few. There are a few bands like that out there, aren't there? Even where you've listened to like complete albums and you've gone, "Oh, that's a great album. I really enjoyed that." But for whatever reason, you don't take it as seriously as some of the other stuff. So, Jelly Bean would be a band that I feel that way about, and their album Belly Button is one of the best albums ever. And it's like everyone goes, "Who?" And then they listen to it and they go, "Oh, that's amazing." I go, yeah, it is, but you would never put it in your list.
Correct, absolutely. So for me, that's an absolute corker. I absolutely love this song. I think it's excellent. And I'll continue to listen to this. And I don't think, apart from Deeper and Deeper, I don't think there's other tracks that I would go looking for to put on. But Deeper and Deeper for me is a standout. Rain is a standout.
Where Life Begins. I know you listen to that quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah, you might want to zip back 10 minutes or so and see us struggle with how to review Where Life Begins, Beth. So we just didn't bother. I don't even want to, I was going to say we just stayed tight-lipped, but I don't even want to say that. I don't want to say anything. Everything's a double entendre.
Yeah.
I'm talking about double entendres. We go into track number 11. Why is it so hard?
Yes, indeed. It segues perfectly into that, doesn't it?
This is just bear traps everywhere here.
Yeah.
For its genre, this is excellent.
Yeah.
It's a great version.
Another great... And this is the thing, isn't it? You listen to this and the bass line on this and the way that the bass and the drums sit together at the start of this, you think to yourself, oh, I've heard that 1,000 times. And you can't think where, but it's like so many songs are built on this foundation, aren't they?
Totally. Her and Shep Pettibone, absolutely, it must be awful. It must have been awful back in the day if Madonna reinvented herself into your genre of music, because she's going to do it better than you, right?
Yeah, you'd just go home, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll become a social selling coach or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely brilliant. A song about tolerance, a song about changing the world and making things easier to do. Reference to the tragic loss of her friends who died of AIDS and HIV and stuff like that. So yeah, she's taken what sounds on it like a little boppy pop song, but it's got a serious undertone to it. Then we're on to track 12, In This Life. I think this is Madonna 10 years before she got her first Bond theme. I think this is her showing us that she could handle a Bond theme.
Yeah. Yes. No,
I'm not. No, not with this.
Doyle. I expect you to die. Eric.
Yes.
He was only 23, gone before he had his time.
Oh yes, it's very much got that John Barry orchestration going on. I've never even thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got a Bond vibe from this, and then of course 10 years later, 2002, she got Die Another Day.
Yeah,
very John Barry. The next track's a little bit of an anomaly. Shep Pettibone brings in a couple of rappers and sort of raps over, and she starts with a bit of she uses a bit of waiting.
But we've also got that same Prodigy funky shit going on in here. But it is
yeah. I need to be careful though, because it's a little bit potty mouthed.
Oh, that's not like the rest of the album, is it?
No, not at all. But this one's actually got
naughty words.
It's so rap of its era, isn't it?
I said a hip hop, the hippie with the hip hop, and I don't want.
So you get threads of remixes of tracks from this album in this, and it's a little bit of a nice sort of a nice break. And then we're into the last track, which I was walking around the house before I came on here.
This is fantastic. So you can taste the smoky nightclub vibe here, can't you? So this is not like a nightclub. This is Ronnie Scott, late at night, 2 a.m, like that wonderful scene from Pretty Woman where Richard Gere is playing the piano in the closed off.
Yes.
Exactly that smell to it and taste.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. George Michael's just left singing Cowboys and Angels and walked out, and he's handed the mic over to you, and then she comes.
In my secret garden, I still believe after all. I still believe, and I fall.
Didn't know she was into horticulture.
See it, and I'll watch it grow. I wonder when it'll start to show. I wonder if I'll ever know
Great chorus.
where my face is. Where my face is. I know it's in here somewhere. I just wish I knew the color of my hair. I know the answer's hiding somewhere in my secret garden. There's a pyramid so tall, a heart will not harden, a place that I can be born in my secret garden.
I wish I hadn't done that.
Why?
I just pulled the lyrics up.
Oh
and
no!
And now I'm blushing again.
It's about horticulture. It's a tribute to
course it
Alan
is.
Titchmarsh.
Yes, of course. How silly! And obviously, when she's talking about the fact it's not a torn petal, it's absolutely about the fact that someone was handling the rose not particularly carefully.
You need to get your secateurs out and dip it in a little bit of baby bio. That's what you need to do.
A little bit of baby oil. But
So this, when I chucked this out last week, I never thought what we're getting into. I've got a river of sweat running down my back right now.
Yeah,
but we managed it.
Most uncomfortable. But it's funny, isn't it? Because we've done this a few times where we thought, oh, that'd be a really good thing to do. Let's do that. And the Wall, another example of that, where we just went, oh Christ, oh, what have we done? And this fairly early on, I realised that this was not going to be a particularly pleasurable experience.
Only because
I've really enjoyed the week of listening to this. I really have enjoyed it because it took me 30 years. 30 years, Eric. 30 years. And that's
sore.
Yeah. And
that's sore.
Yeah. You know.
Percy Thrower.
She's a Percy Thrower fan. Yeah. It's a long time ago that this came out, which makes it all the more shocking because, we're embarrassed today, 30 years on. And, since then, gay marriage is normalized, trans and all of the different minority groups and embracing who we are as people and humans and a species is much more normalized now. And still, this is kind of right out there on the edge of what's considered
because
to be
she
acceptable.
decided she was going to do a confessional album, and by goodness, she delivered. I mean, this holds no quarter. This is full on, right?
And much of it was banned, wasn't it, by the Vatican, like a prayer. The single of Erotica, they said you can't play that, and lots of this was sectioned off and put out of the mainstream because it was right out there on the edge.
And good for her. Some say it was her making, the fact that she actually found to be able to just do whatever she wanted. Some say it set her off on the wrong course. I don't think
it did. I don't think it did on the wrong course, because what came after this was some of the most sophisticated, polished female mature music that we've seen ever.
Exactly. Do you like the track Frozen?
Yes, very much.
Oh, it's epic, right? So as part of a journey, she does this thing and she becomes something else and keeps reinventing and all of that. It was shocking at the time. But
after this, she had nothing to prove, did she? I think
Correct.
that's the point. She she was a breakthrough artist. You know, she was always kind of quite sexy, and there was always the undercurrent of sex, and she was always pushing that, probably because of her strict Catholic upbringings.
Yep.
She was pushing that, and then she does this album, and she thinks, okay, well, you know, I've got naked in front of everybody. You know, everyone's seen pictures of me. I've written about what my deepest desires are. Now I can get on with making music, and music, and what was the other album?
Ray of Light.
Ray of Light. Thank you. Yeah, exceptional, much more mature, much less challenging albums that came out immediately after this. Wonderful. So this was a turning point.
So we've now done Madonna for the first time, which is excellent.
The first of several, possibly.
First of several. Yeah, we will revisit Madonna because she's too important to our generation of music to go past. I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad we started here because it would have been easy to go to one of the big sellers and just gush over how. We'll do that later, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I brought Madonna Erotica to the table. Where are you taking us next time?
So I have been giving this some thought over the course of the week, and I decided quite early on that I would like to do an Eagles album.
Ooh.
So my default position, obviously, was Hotel California, which, as we know, is the second best-selling album of all time. Sorry, third best-selling album. The second best being the Eagles' greatest hits. The third best-selling album of all time. But I was a little bit, because there's a couple of songs that aren't on it that I really would like on the album. So I was thinking, maybe, are you okay with another live album?
Oh, of course. Yeah, love it. Oh, look, you've already, the troops are interested.
Yeah. So I was thinking Hell Freezes Over.
Hell Freezes Over. Never heard of the album.
Okay, which was a live album released in 1994. And the backstory is that the Eagles split up.
Right.
And they decided that they were, well, when they split up, they said, what do you think they said? Hell will freeze over before we get back together again.
Love it.
And then they decided that they would get back together again. And the really interesting part about this is that everybody assumed that this was a rift between Glenn Frey and Don Henley, because you would, you know, these were the two big personalities. And partly because when the band was very young, Glenn Frey was very clearly the lead singer.
Yeah. And
Don Henley was a songwriter, but also a drummer. And I saw an interview.
How on earth do you do that, by the way? And how on earth do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And sing.
And Glenn Frey was interviewed, and he said, you know, lots of people thought that. He said, but let's be honest, he's got a much better voice than me. He said, why on earth would you form a band and not have Don Henley doing the singing? So he said, so I was delighted that he wanted to sing. I could get on with writing songs and playing the guitar, and he could do. So it wasn't him. It was actually Timothy B. Schmidt.
When you read about, this is going to be wonderful for me. Hell Freezes Over is the name of the album, right? Yeah. I don't know much about this band, to be quite honest. I know New Kid in Town and Hotel California, but I've never listened to an Eagles album. I know that there's going to be glasses smashing all over the world. Well, certainly Aberdeenshire from one person. But I don't know much about the Eagles, apart from having read lots and lots and lots of stuff about, you thought Aerosmith were toxic. You thought Guns N' Roses were toxic. You thought that maybe Rolling Stones were toxic. They all pale in comparison to the madness and toxicity. And I mean, I was last week, happened to be reading an article about there was another artist, I will get it for next week, that used to share a studio with the Eagles when they were making an album. And they would have the night shift and Eagles would have the day shift, and they'd come in at night, and every day they had to sweep the soundboard down. And one day they were like, well, let's weigh the amount of white powder that's on this. And it was a pound left over every night, a pound left over. One of the songs that they wrote was about Life in the Fast Lane, was about traveling with the drug
Lines-
dealer with
lines on the mirror, lines on her face. Yeah.
3 pounds of cocaine in the back so that they could write some music because they needed that amount of cocaine to get creative. Bands had it signed into the recording contracts, allegedly, that if you go on tour with the Eagles, you've never to see them when you come off stage until you go on stage. You've never to be around them. That's in your contract. Wow.
Right. So this is an interesting album because they're obviously much more mature at the point that they do this album. So they've had nearly a 20-year break from each other, and they've come back together. And the album was released simultaneously as an album and as a DVD or a laser disc, as it was in those days.
Laser disc.
And it's very interesting to watch that and the associated interviews, which gives you some context for the album.
Can I get those on YouTube or something? Yeah. Excellent.
But it's a breathtakingly insightful view of them as a band, and the new songs that they'd written whilst they were apart, and just you can tell that Joe Walsh has he's the reason they needed 6 pounds of cocaine and not half a gram.
There's a pattern forming here. Old fruit. 2 weeks ago, you chose one of the top 10 best-selling albums of all time. This week, you choose arguably, in fact, not arguably, measurably, one of the biggest-selling artists of all time. Yeah, okay. I see your game.
No, well, we can save it. We can save it, and we can do something else.
No, let's do it. I'm thrilled because it's a band I know nothing really about. It's an album I've never even heard of. That's gold.
You'll know loads of the songs on the album,
right? Okay.
But there's also some new stuff which is very, very of the time. Really, I think you'll enjoy this. We'll see.
Loving it. Can't wait for it.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Lovely to have you all on board again. Looking forward to seeing you next week for the Eagles. And in the meantime, happy listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.